Welcome to Glencoe's Health e-Spotlight video series, where real-world connections help you develop the skills for a healthy future.
These guys all used to be in a gang, the Stepney Massive Gang. They live in Tower Hamlets, an area well known for violence and crime, where survival means sticking together. But protection comes at a price. There are more and more reports of gang crime like vandalism and shoplifting. Carrying dangerous weapons and fighting is also on the increase. But there is a way out. The Non-Violence Foundation is one of the few projects working to prevent gang crime.
One of the main reasons that young people get involved in gangs is for the security. No one likes to be an individual, especially when you're living in a tight community, that does have a divide. The Non-Violence Foundation aims to change attitudes of young people. We work in areas like this to bring about a change in attitude, getting young people to see that violence isn't cool, and that it's cooler to stop a fight than it is to get involved in a fight.
And after working in Tower Hamlets, things have already started to change.
Ever since we've taken part in the Non-Violence project, it's like we've realised, fighting and all this stuff ain't really worth it. It don't really get you nowhere. So I think people actually realise what we're doing, and they still respect us in a way that we're stopping violence and stuff. So it's a good thing.
School violence was a familiar face in this tough section of DeKalb County, Georgia, just east of Atlanta. A student was murdered on campus last fall. A 9-year-old brought a gun to class last year. Now grade school principal Shirley Reams is proud to say school violence is down dramatically. Down because of an innovative program called peer mediation.
They have too much hurt inside. Therefore, we have a responsibility to get inside of the head, get inside of the heart, allow them to express themselves.
Yeah, we got into a big fight and said you can help. Yeah, we have a real problem.
In peer mediation, students are trained to talk to and counsel each other. At Terry Mill Elementary School, kids say it stopped fistfights and threats of more severe retaliation.
Because sometimes they feel better talking to people their age because they think adults might have a different way of saying it.
When they talk to adults, they get intimidated and they get scared they might go home, and that's the last thing they want to do, and then they start to feel, and then that's why it's easy for them to talk to a fellow peer. That way they can talk about, really get stuff off their chest.
Well, how much can you have on a 12-year-old chest?
You can have a lot.
Most school districts start peer mediation in high school. Here it starts in grade school. There's even a support group at Terry Mill Elementary for school kids who've had friends or relatives murdered. Membership now stands at 50 and is growing. So school administrators say if a violence prevention program can work here, it can work anywhere in America.
Kindergarten and first grade, the wonder years, a time for the important business of learning numbers, letters, and days of the week.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
but educators are noticing an alarming trend.
I was really surprised at the beginning of this year at the number of calls that were with regard to kindergarten students.
Increasing reports of young children acting out violently. In a Texas study, 93% of school counselors surveyed said that kindergartners today are experiencing more behavioral problems than kindergartners 5 years ago.
Kids have always gotten into little fights and such, but these calls are aggression toward teachers, fighting, not just slapping, but hitting with fists, kicking, and biting.
Experts offer the usual reasons for out-of-control behavior. Violent video games and television, increased academic pressure, and inexperienced parents. But some educators say there's a phenomenon that parents aren't taking seriously, that's as mundane as the dinner table.
As I talk with parents, I often find scenarios such as, well, I really don't have time to sit at the table with my child. The food is there and he can eat as he chooses. So there isn't the interaction that gives the child the guidance and the discipline.
They're not coming in with social skills, wait their turn, being quiet when other people are talking, resolving conflicts without pushing or shoving or biting or slugging or kicking.
Experts say if children do not learn how to sit still, they become frustrated and confused in the classroom.
Children don't differentiate their feelings well. They don't know frustration from disappointment versus anger. They just get mad.
I feel mad when you say my name wrong.
Some schools are integrating programs like Second Step, which teaches empathy, impulse control, and anger management, behaviors typically missing in violent children.
He slapped me with the book bag. He slapped me on the face with it.
At a Long Island, New York elementary school, Second Step is used to stop aggressive behaviors before they start. Elementary school suspensions at Archer Street School have dropped from 58 kids suspended per year to 12.
Children get angry just the same way adults get angry, but we're trying to get them to learn to deal with their emotions and their feelings, to communicate with each other.
A teenager's first love affair can be filled with lots of excitement and uncertainty, and sometimes that relationship can go from wonderful love to crazy love. It can become emotionally or even physically abusive, and that happened to Anya Alvarez when she was just 15. She's here with Betty Wong, the executive editor of Family Circle magazine, and good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Anya, I know you're 18 now, and thank you so much for sharing your story of two relationships.
Yes.
Brief relationships when you were 15. What happened in the first one?
The first relationship, it only lasted a month, but after 2 weeks, he started getting emotionally abusive. I wasn't allowed to go out with my friends, and I wasn't allowed to do things that I loved anymore. And then he started pressuring me to do sexual things that I did not want to do.
So he was not only pressuring you sexually, but he was isolating you from your whole support system.
Yes.
You ended that relationship. What about a subsequent relationship then?
The exact same thing happened in the second relationship, and that only lasted a month too. And the reason why I ended them so quickly is because I realized that something wasn't right. I didn't recognize it as abuse, but I just realized that what happened wasn't right.
Did you talk to your mom about it at all?
No, I didn't. She had no idea. I didn't tell her about the sexual abuse. I didn't tell her about how they tried to control me.
Why not?
I didn't see it as a problem. I thought, it happened, I'll get over it and move on. And I didn't realize how it would affect relationships that I had later.
Betty, is this something that we see a lot, teenagers that are reluctant to go to their parents? Why is that?
Absolutely. Well, part of it is when you're in your first relationships, you don't really have a clear sense of what's appropriate and what's not. You think that things like wanting to be together all the time or extreme jealousy is a sign of love. And so, you know, in a sense, love really is blind when it's your first relationship.
So if teenagers aren't going to their parents, we want to give parents a few tips here on how to recognize if their teenager might be in an abusive relationship. One of the first things you say that they might do is drop out of family activities and extracurricular activities.
Right.
Why?
You know, take a look at kind of the patterns of behavior. If you really notice that she's changed the way she's dressing, she changes the way that she's interacting with you, not participating in family activities, a drop in grades, that may be a sign that the boyfriend or the partner is really controlling, wanting to make sure she dresses a certain way, does things always with him. So keep an eye on that. Another really big sign, cell phone and computer use.
Right, technology plays a big part in this, correct? Because of the IMing and all of the things that are available to have someone keep another person in their sights, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Like today, technology creates accessibility. And, you know, with cell phones and computers, kids are really never out of touch anymore.
If somebody is in a pattern like this, you had two subsequent relationships and you worked really hard to get beyond those, what advice would you give another young person?
If it doesn't feel right, then what's happening within the relationship, you do need to talk to someone. If you can't talk to your parents, talk to a school counselor or call the domestic teen dating violence hotline.
And for parents, what can they do when their son or daughter comes to them and says, look, I'm in trouble here?
Well, really, I think you have to help them make ending the relationship not only easier but also safer. And one way to do that is to have them do it by phone. You know, that minimizes any chance of future abuse, verbal or physical, if the kid is able to just control it by phone. Another way would be to reach out to the school. You may need to move your child's locker, request that she be able to be picked up a little bit earlier, and then also just be supportive.
Right. You know, Anya, you are so great to share your story. Thank you
you
so much. It's really
Thank you.
important for other kids to hear. And Betty, I'm so glad you guys wrote an article about it too, and it's a wonderful piece in Family Circle. Thanks to both of you, Betty Wong and Anya Alvarez.
You've been watching Glencoe's Healthy Spotlight video series. Remember, be healthy, choose wisely.